Bless the Lord, oh my soul. All within me, bless his holy name. Bless the Lord, oh my soul. Forget not all his benefits. He forgives all your sin. He heals all your brokenness. He redeems your life from the pit. Crowns you with mercy, crowns you with love. Slow to anger, rich in love. His compassion rises like the sun from the heavens, high above. Great is his love for everyone. Bless the Lord, oh my soul. Every heart be given him praise. As far as the east from the west, he has carried my sins away. Bless the Lord, oh my soul. Let his mercy cover the night. From everlasting to everlasting, his kingdom rules in light. Justice for all who are oppressed. He made his ways known to Moses, his acts to the children of Israel. As a father has compassion on the children that he loves, so the Lord shows compassion to the ones who fear his name. He remembers we are dust. Our days are like the grass, but his mercy never fades. His faithfulness will last. Bless the Lord, oh my soul. Every heart be given him praise. As far as the east from the west, he has carried my sins away. Bless the Lord, oh my soul. Let his mercy cover the night. From everlasting to everlasting.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Monday morning. The last few days of July. 5 more days in the month of July. The time has flown by. Either way, good morning. I'm glad you're here. I'm going to go ahead and put on a little bit of music. A little bit of bump for the background. Good morning, J Trades. Welcome. Glad you're here. How are you? My audio is low. I've had a few people tell me that. So let's just double check here. Okay. So I know my audio is coming from this microphone, which is very important. Why else could it be low? I like midnight open here. I think midnight open's gonna be tagged here. Well, if it's quiet, just crank it up. Just crank it up. Let's start with the weekly analysis here, folks. Let's go ahead and mark our weekly levels. How we stay above this 50%. If we stay above this, we aren't going to go lower, but there's a chance that we go lower, guys. I mean, ultimately, I think we're going lower. We've wicked up into the daily fair value gap. Now, regardless of it looking like it didn't run the London high has been ran on the hourly. We got a 4-hour swing low here and then a no wicked 4-hour candle down here. Yeah, the volume imbalance. We won't even consider that a volume. That's a. Remember, price closed down here, not up here. So the volume imbalance is the new week opening gap right there. That's the volume imbalance. Very large. I would like if I have a runner that could run to there. That'd be nice. I'm currently in a trade. I got in on the breaker after this wick. I'll show you guys here in a second. But there's the London high sweep right there on the hourly and Asia high. And then that was also the same time we dipped into the daily fair value or pushed up into the daily fair value gap. So ultimately, I'm looking, this is my resistance, and I'm looking as this is my imbalance that is going to be drawn to. Midnight open is my low-hanging fruit objective. From a 15-minute perspective, we swept the 15-minute high in this 15-minute fair value gap. And this is the midnight open. I'm looking for price to hit right there. Stops at this high right here. depending on how we react at midnight open will depend if I close it or not. But ultimately, I got in from this little breaker right here. You can see it. I use the fair value gap right here as my entry. That's where I got in at. That sweep right here is what I was like, ooh, I like how we reacted there and went lower. We displaced lower here, and then we came back up right here. This is where I entered right here. Let's see if we can run down here. So entry was here. It was about right there. Stops at that high. Initial targets here. I wouldn't mind the idea of running all the way down to here is somewhat attractive. But I don't know if I want to give up that win right away. Andre, what's up? Is it okay to get into a trade just before New York Open? Lots can change at the open. Yes. Main reason why I'm considering closing it. But if we start dropping before the open, typically it continues. You might get a big reaction candle, but I just don't want to deal with it. I would rather not deal with it. So, if we don't hit midnight open before the open, it will probably drop into it. But my guess is it's going to hit it here. So if it doesn't, I'll hold through the open. But it looks like it just ran it now. There is a swing low right here. So I'm going to watch how we interact with that swing low on the 15-minute time frame here. Probably going to close it right here. All right, I'm closed. Right at open. Thank you, Pa. Yeah, it was a nice little trade before pre-market. The circumstances kind of just lined up to trade that. Why? Daily fair value gap tagged. Displacement lower. Sweep of a swing high and rejection of that on the lower time frame. Fair value gap and breaker entry with a midnight target, and as you can see, probably even lower targets here. Sorry, I had a leftover contract that went live, excuse me, while I was handling my other trade, and I was confused on what was going on, so I was trying to just take care of that. All right, so ultimately, this whole trade idea played out perfectly. The things, like I said, that I liked, I think the thing that stood out to me the most was right here. Okay, it was this candle right here at 9 o'clock. This candle really, for me, told me everything. I had my bias from the daily, but this candle just, it did it for me. It gave me the clue that I think we're going lower. We swept this high right here. Nice sweep, and we displaced. Okay, this now, at this moment, this is not enough, because we could just come back up and just move higher, right? You could call this manipulation the other way. We have manipulation here, and it could go higher. This right here was the second piece that said, okay, I now see my model right here. There's my model. If we come back up into this area, I have to make a decision. Do I want to take the trade or not? And when I see my model, I saw the daily fair value gap in this wick. I said, yes, I'm going to take a shot. Take the entry here, stop here, accept the risk, and take the trade. Accept the risk and take the trade. That was my motto. And we ended up selling right around here. That's where we sold. No, it wasn't there. It's more like there. So it was about 104 points for that trade right there. That's what we ended up getting on that trade. I sold right at open is when I sold it. 9:30. Oh, no, I'm wrong on that. Right here. It wasn't 100 points. It was right here. 78 points. That's where I sold. You bet. That's how people get better. That's how we get better. Is analyzing the trades we took, analyzing the losses we take. I did participate in pre-market today. It looked too good. Were you here to hear the explanation? Now at this point, I want to wait for the next 15-minute candle. We're going to let this 15-minute candle close. Reinstitute my 15-minute rule. Think about it here. This trade that I took led to liquidity being grabbed before market open. Okay, so now that liquidity, but also an imbalance was tagged. Now that we have that, the question is, what is next? That's what we have to be good at, is identifying what the draw on liquidity is. Now, I am not one to say that I am the best at this. I mean, I think July is going to be a red month, to be honest with you. It's not been a very good month for me whatsoever. May and June, phenomenal months. Big green months, but July has not been. July, I think, is going to be red. So I'm not one to say that I have it all figured out on being able to identify conditions, markets, narrative, bias. But this is what we have to get better at. If you and I want to achieve what we dream of, what we think we're capable of, we have to get better at this aspect of trading. And then have enough conviction in it to not trade when it's not there, and then to trade when it's there. That's what we have to get better at. Your job is not here to click buttons when you like a whip of a candle, a whip back of a candle, and then all of a sudden in 2 trades of it whipping back and forth, you are sitting there thinking, you're anxious, you're worrying, you're uneasy, and you're not at peace. And that reminds me, we need to open in prayer. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. So let's go ahead and open in prayer on that note. Father, we just commit this morning to you. Lord, let us not be manipulated by our feelings today. Let us be clear-minded, settled in our hearts, in our spirit, that you are directing our steps. Give us the courage to say no to our emotions, to say no to our feelings, to say no to the whips of the market when we want to just click and find out. Father, we today choose to be courageous. We choose to be courageous today. In Jesus' name, amen. Let's be courageous today. Let's do the things we know we're supposed to do. Can we do that? Can you guys do that? Put in the chat, what are the things you know you're supposed to do in your trading? Okay, just throw it out there. Put it in the chat so other people can see it. Maybe somebody doesn't know what they're supposed to do and they're going to be encouraged by what you put in the chat. What are the things you know you're supposed to do in your trading, but sometimes your emotions get in the way. What are those things that you know you're supposed to do? Put them in the chat for everybody else. Respect my rules. Patience. What else? Honor God with my capital. Follow the plan. Yeah, emotions. Emotions are like, your playbook. Or here's your plan. Your emotions are like, nah, let's go. That's what emotions do. Okay? No drinking on trading days. Well, you're going to probably need more than no drinking on trading days to trade, Jace. Wait for model and not to try chase the profit. Yeah, like right now. You know how easy it would be to want to try to chase this to the previous day low? Oh, yeah. Why not? Why not, they say. It's obvious, they say. It's a no-brainer. It's a guaranteed win, they say. And then it goes against you. No. We're not. We're not going to. We're going to be courageous. We're not going to be controlled by our emotions. Is drinking coffee okay? I think so. Nat, I think so. We're on the same page. Let's drink some coffee, huh? Let's be courageous. Oh no! Oh no, it hit the previous day low. Just like I thought it was, and I didn't take the trade. I was right. I need to take the next emotional decision because I was right. That's exactly what happens, folks. Just like that. And then you go, man, I'm smart. You don't say that to yourself. But you go, I was right last time. What if I'm right this time? What if I'm right this time? I don't want to miss it again. Hey, please understand. I'm talking about myself here. These are the things I've said to myself. I mean, I know. Why do you think it's hitting a chord? Why do you think it's resonating? Because I've done it. I've done it. I've been there. I've even done it recently, guys. I mean, do you know how this is like it's not like you figure it out one time and then you're good. No. It's a daily surrender. It's a daily dying to self. It's a daily crucifying the flesh. I mean, there's so many biblical principles that I could share that directly correlate to our ability to trade. Just, it is. You have to die to those emotional impulses. Okay? Let's do it. Let's do it today. So, now I'm not even looking at the market. The market's dropping. Okay? Let the market do its thing. Okay? At some point, it's going to have to stop. It's going to reach consolidation, and we'll get some form of trade. So there's our 15-minute candle that's just closed right there. Now, what would I be looking for at this point? We tapped previous day low. That's always a good place to see a reaction higher. Did I not pray yet? Yeah, I already prayed, Nat. I prayed. What's up, J Trades? You can find the information down in the description. There's a lot that comes with it. I'm not going to try to go over everything. Why are you describing me? Because I've been there, my friend. I've been there. All right, so what am I looking for? All right, if price, this is now theory Tyler, bias Tyler, narrative Tyler. Let's put on that hat. We're not executing, we're analyzing. So let's put on our analyzing hat. If price stays relatively around the midpoint of the new week opening gap and refuses to go lower, I'm going to anticipate higher prices. If we're heavy enough to start closing this, I'm going to anticipate lower prices. Now, I don't take a trade off of that. This is trying to come up with an idea, okay? Trying to come up with an idea, and we have to use multiple things to do that, okay? But there's just nothing here for us to work with. It's a big volume imbalance here, and there's just a straight drop right here on the 5 minute. Sure, we got a 5 minute fair value gap here. We'll mark that. I like it. I'm keeping track of that previous day low. Do we just continue to expand through it? I always like to see on the 1 minute time frame a low and then a lower low before we explode higher, if we're gonna do that. I don't like the explosions off the first. See this one right here? See how it just went lower and it just exploded higher? I wouldn't have taken this long. No way. Why? Because usually we get something that happens like this. It gives you another low. And I usually like to see 2 before I start seeing longs. Now, you can make that even smaller. Here's a low retracement. There's the lower low, okay? And guess what's around it? Previous day low. So that's what I would be paying attention to right now. But see how there's no swing high in any of this? So let's jump up to the 2 minute. We got fair value gaps here. Let's see how many we have. 1, 2, 3 fair value gaps. What I'm describing here, what I'm going through right now is the 30-day roadmap. I'm going through the criteria I'm looking at and what I look for in the 30-day roadmap, okay? Major point of liquidity, previous day low tagged, check. Multiple fair value gaps, I don't like. So I go up a time frame. There's 2 here. Better, but we can get better. Here we go. Here's a 4 minute fair value gap right here. Okay? And then it's followed by a swing high and midnight open. All right there. I like that. And a 5 minute fair value gap. This long right here is attractive to me. I'm not a fan of the 4 minute time frame. Not at all. It's just, if I was going to do it, I like the 1, 2, or 3. 4, and if I'm gonna wait for the 4, I might as well wait for the 5, right? 5's right here. So there's an idea for a long. All the criteria is there to take that long. Now, what would that risk be though? You close above this fair value gap. Risk would have to be at this low, 45 points, and target is 80 points. That's a 1 to 2 R. That's not bad. The problem with the 5 minute is not only could it run, because you don't close the trade until it closes the 5 minute candle. So the downside is that this risk of 45 points could easily become 110 because that's where your final stop would have to be. So it's a 0.73 risk to reward. You could bump this up to try to make it a 1 to 1, and or what you do is just make it a 1-to-1 here, so you go 82 points. I'd probably say this is where I would put the stop, hard stop right there, 1-to-1 risk to reward right there. Depending on where you enter, I would probably do something like that on the 5 minute. So the risk is a minus $160. That's really what you're risking to make 160 on one micro. I'm not necessarily a huge fan of that. I do like that we've hit the daily fair value gap. So another way you could treat this is, if you want to be more conservative, is if we get the close above, you don't take the trade until we revisit this first presented fair value gap. So we close here and then we come back down into it. That's when you take your trade. You reduce some of your risk by getting a smaller stop potentially and a larger take profit. But that also trade could just continue lower. So you have to accept some risk. What risk are you willing to accept? You have to decide. I don't. This isn't financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, okay? Previous day low, daily, right there. Oh no, that's not previous day low. Wow. Did I just do a whole analysis on faulty information? Wow. This is why I like the chat. Thank you, Jack. What was I doing? What kind of analysis is this crap? All right, now what do we have instead though? We have our midpoint. I'm still okay with midpoint. It honestly doesn't change the analysis that much. Midpoint is there. Midpoint of the previous day range. And this is a huge level, by the way. Let me just be clear. This is the Friday midpoint. I should have used that on my target for the trade. Previous day, Friday's midpoint is like a magnet when it comes to price movement. So I'm still okay with that. I'm still okay with that 5 minute idea. I'm not necessarily sure I'm gonna take it or not. I wanna see how it forms. It's kind of one of those things you make the decision in the moment based on what else happens before then. But as it stands, if it would have given it right now and it just explodes higher, gives us the 5 minute close, I would probably say, yeah, it looks good enough. We have previous day low and weekly low sitting right down here, and we have the remainder of this new week opening gap sitting right there. Way to go, Lee Win. Nice job. I think we're getting lower prices until ES hits the daily midpoint here as well. So I would not be doing any longs right now. I want to see ES also hit it. That's our correlating asset. For those that don't know, we look at ES and NQ. Top right corner, you'll see it. I don't have it on this one, so let me put it in there. ES, top right corner, NQ. We want these to correlate to some degree. And it doesn't need to be the same levels, but it needs to be liquidity. So right now, ES is running Asia low right now. Inside the community, I trade twice a week, one time on Tuesdays and an extended session on Thursdays. I'm probably going to move the Thursdays to be completely community trading as well. My guess is it'll be sometime this year for sure. I've already been mulling it over in my mind. What do you mean, RMP? What do you mean? I'm getting a lot more outcome. You're getting better outcomes or better results, or it's more helpful in the Discord sessions? You bet, Trades. No problem. More useful and helpful. $10 o'clock. 2 minutes away. 1 minute away. 10 o'clock. What do I like to see at 10 o'clock? Do we get a sweep of the 4-hour candle? Okay. So let me jump to the 4-hour candle and check this out. Okay. So do we get a when the next 4-hour opens, do we sweep the low and then start moving higher? If that happens, I like longs, short-term longs, but I look for that sweep of that 4-hour candle. And that will happen here in 26 seconds. And what could you target? You could target the first 5-minute fair value gap. You could target 9:30, midnight open. All right, so see how we just swept the low right there. That is a 4-hour sweep right there. Okay. Now, I don't like the structure to take a long in this, so it's irrelevant, but that's what I'm looking at. See how 15-minute, same sweep. You're going to get the same sweep on the 30-minute. You're going to get the same thing on the hourly. And you're going to get the same thing on the 4-hour because that's a 4-hour close. See, this is where we could get a wick right here and we can move in the other direction. Dropping to the 1-minute time frame, there's a lot of this right here. Very hard to trade. This is very hard to trade against. Like, nothing in me wants to go long. What I think I'd want to do is let it go long, either sweep the low or give me a failure swing, and then try a second time with an inversion in here to sweep these highs, move stop to break even, and then target those highs. If it's gonna go long. I mean, I don't want to go short right now too, because we're at the low of the new week opening gap. This is the close, or we just filled it. Okay, we filled everything. At this point, I'm interested in partial retracements to trade the retracement. Or if I miss the retracement and we find resistance at a key level, we can trade the other direction for a trend trade, trading with the trend, because the trend obviously right now is to the downside until it says otherwise. We'll try to do a giveaway this week. We'll try to do a giveaway this week for some Take Profit Trader accounts. I have some 150 accounts that we can give away. For those inside the academy, would you guys like more live training sessions, like private lives? Would you like private lives if we go through different things? Maybe we spend more time on the fair value gap, more time on the inversion, more time on breakers, and we really dig into some of those live. Would you guys like that kind of stuff? Because all of it's inside the academy already, but I think people like the idea of live. Yeah. Yep, doesn't surprise me. Okay. We'll try to incorporate more of that throughout the week. So we might add another day where we do that live. We might need to figure out when, because I'm Central Standard Time and we have people from all over the country and all over the world. So I'm assuming if we start with just United States time, evenings probably would be better for most people, is my guess. We do a late evening, you know, like a 9 p.m. or something like that. Central Standard Time, or 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. I'll put a survey out there to kind of figure out what would work for people. Now remember, this is our 4 hour, okay? That's our 4 hour low. Now we're pretty close to this level here. So knowing that we're already in a downtrend, it seems to me this should be broken. So I'm more interested in taking shorts. I think what I want to do is, and we also filled the new week opening gap, which I said if we fill it, I'd be more interested in shorts. So we did that. If we get a retracement here, I wouldn't mind trying to take a short. If it doesn't give us a retracement and it just drops, then I can't do anything about that. Give me a second, folks.
Connection lost.
Sorry guys, I'm just about done. I have a AC that's out for a tenant of mine, guys, and I have to take care of it. I'm sorry. I'm watching this fair value gap, by the way. Sorry about that, folks. How long was I in there for? How long was I on the phone for? 10, 15 minutes. I'm sorry. I had a tenant call and I've missed their phone calls for about 10 days because I got a new phone. And for whatever reason, it just didn't notify. My Google Voice plan didn't follow over. So they've been without any AC for 10 days and it's been 100 plus degree. I mean, it's been horrible and I feel horrible for it. So I had to make sure things were moving. Yeah, I mean, it would be horrible if I was living there. I'd be pissed at my landlord. So we had to make it right. So I think we are moving in the right direction now. So but in the meantime, literally nothing has happened. Nothing has happened in the meantime. So we swept this. Now we can start looking and seeing if we get if we get a close above this right now, I'm in it for a long. I'm in it for a long. We could even, it would be to this fair value gap or this fair value gap. Even if this wants to change here and move higher, I don't think we're gonna get in this hourly candle a big change. I mean, it could end up here, but I mean, where was that inversion? An inversion sitting at 324. Yeah, that's a high inversion. So based on where the hourly is, it doesn't look likely here. I think we have a better shot at trying to go short. The problem is I just don't like that we've hit the daily fair value gap or the daily swing low and the weekly low. This is just an area that you see reactions from. So to be honest with you, I'd prefer it not to be this fair value gap. Now that I'm looking more at it, I don't like how high it is. I'd like a lower fair value gap to give me a reaction, close above, and then we target these swing highs right here. If you're looking for lows, it would be the daily down here. It would be the quadrant. Entering the fourth quadrant down here. That would be an option. We've already hit 50%. This is a really big level. Monthly midpoint, previous week, previous day. I can't go short right now because when I trade off of liquidity. I'm a liquidity trader. That means when I get these sweeps, that get these tags, I'm looking for trades in the other direction. So if we were to take a Fibonacci tool from this high to this low, roughly, and we find where equilibrium's at, we could potentially see a trade up to here for retracement, 50%. That's not unreasonable. That's possible. See how it came up to 50% right here? This is the trade that I took from this high to this low. We retraced up to the 50% level right there, and then we dropped. Now, if I would have just held that one trade, man, and said, I want to see how far this could go, I'd be up 500 points. I'm not there in my trading journey. I am not there yet. That is tough. That is tough. This would require having the courage that we've talked about this morning. It would require lots of courage. I do, but no, I mean, if I kept a runner, I would have kept it only to the previous month level. Like down here. Like going all through here, that's crazy. I've been stopped out so many times on trades like that I've almost given up, if I'm honest with you. Given up on trying to get trades like that. But I know that it's possible, and I know there's opportunities for it. They just come so far and few between each other that it's easier for me to not take those and take the 50 to 100 point trades and just build my systems off of that. I mean, it's very difficult to predict this, but and that's why I'm saying, so when I'm here at 9:30 open and I'm concerned because I can't tell you how many times I've been in a trade 9:30 or 10 o'clock or some news event happens, not necessarily a news event, but something happens and it just goes against me completely the other way, and I don't lock any profits. I lose what I had. In this case, it would have played out immensely from 70 points to 500 points. Like, that to me is untapped territory that I have not accessed yet. But to be honest with you, I think we're going to have to wait another 30 minutes. We need to wait for the 10 o'clock hour to be done because it's already telling us it's dropping. So this 4-hour sweep is irrelevant. And I would be looking for it to tag this daily. And then once we hit there, see if we can get a retracement trade. We would be looking at, there's a daily fair value gap right here as well. So we're looking basically down here if we're going to get there. Let's see if we have anything on the weekly. Yeah, the weekly is also down here as well. So the weekly low is there, and that's also overlapping with this. Or that's the high of the fair value gap. So if we go back to the daily, you'll see it overlapping here. So there's a lot happening right here that just looks like it's gonna reach there. But my guess is we're gonna get some form of retracement before we hit that, and maybe we can capitalize on that. But we haven't had any retracements. Yeah, you could have took this as your entry at 10.15 if you were gonna go lower. That's also a breaker. Did you guys see that? I was on the phone though, so I wouldn't have seen that. See that breaker? That's a nice breaker right there. Very small, very subtle. Low, we got a low, or we got a high, low, higher high. We broke lower, came back up to that low. Right there. And even still, there's still 140 points to go. So there's still plenty of room to make a nice trade. I like that. Do we have any opportunity there? Nothing here. See the 2 minute, nothing. Here's the problem. Here's the problem we deal with, okay? We don't see the model we want to trade, okay? Or we missed it, right? I missed one right here, okay? I missed the model to trade because I was on the phone dealing with a non-working AC unit. So now the market's dropping. So we get to this point where we internally, we start to use intuition. We start to use, what's the word I'm looking for? Discretionary decisions. And we go, oh, look at that wick. Yeah, see that wick right there? That wick is telling me we're gonna go higher. So, oh, I don't see anything clear, but I've seen that before. So I'm gonna try, you don't say this, but in your head, you're looking past this. I'm going to ignore my rules. And because I've seen this before, we should at least hit the swing high. So since I missed all of this, I should be able to just get a small little retracement to right here. Yeah, let's go ahead, let's do it. And then you take your entry and then it runs lower just like this. You get slapped in the face and now you're emotionally charged and you hurt yourself even more. Okay, this is the process that happens all the time. So you see me sitting here saying, I don't see anything. We're missing all of this. Most people on the other end, on the other side of the screen that don't understand this are going, this guy's a loser. This guy doesn't know what he's doing. We're missing all of this. I need to find somebody that's taking a trade in this so I can take a trade. And they leave not realizing that they're just feeding into that FOMO feeling in a different way. They're feeding that FOMO by finding somebody that's speaking. They have, the Bible calls it itching ears. They have itching ears. They're trying to find somebody to tell them what they want to hear so that they can take a trade because they're itching. They're just itching to try to take a trade. They're like, why? You're missing this? I need to find somebody that's not. And I'm going to take that trade with them. And I'm going to find somebody that's telling me what I want to hear so I can participate in it. Instead of really building the discipline of sitting through a missed opportunity and sucking it up, having the courage to be patient, having the courage to let it run without you doing anything. This is what you have to build. This is what I'm trying to instill, not just in you guys, but continually in myself. FOMO is real, folks, and you need to identify how it works in you. It's different for every person. There's going to be a lot of similar characteristics in how it plays out, but it's going to be different from me on my end compared to you on your end. It's going to show up differently. Maybe you just take the trade anyway. Maybe you just leave and go find somebody else that's, has less risk management rules. Who knows? I don't know. There's a lot of good traders out there, so I'm not saying that I'm the only one. No. But there's a lot of factors here. Sure, could you click the button short and probably make money? Yeah, but that's not sustainable wealth. You can't replicate that on a consistent basis. So yeah, you get a short-term fix, but it's not a long-term solution. It's a short-term dopamine release, but not long-term freedom. So I'm interested in the long-term freedom, not a quick dopamine release. Now, have I been manipulated by that dopamine release? 100%. It feels good. I like it. It's addicting. But I've chosen not to be a slave to those things. That means it runs and I don't take the trade, I don't have an opportunity. You could make the argument, well, Tyler, can't you come up with a model for a situation like this? Sure, you could. I just haven't. Some people, I mean, here I can give you a model, 2 models right now. Okay. Model number 1. It comes up into a fair value gap. You take a trade, set your stop at the high. Model number 1. Model number 2. Once you close below a green candle, set a line across there and call that an order block. Right there. Okay. So this is an OB. Where's my OBs? 1 minute order block. Okay. So there's your 1 minute order block, right? When price, once it runs this low, comes back up into the order block, you can take that trade. So no trade here. We got one right there. There's your entry opportunity for a short. Okay. You wouldn't have gotten it here. You would have had it here. You would have had it here. You would have been stopped out here, but you had the fair value gap, so I would have played the fair value gap first. You could use this order block right here, and then that breaker is also an order block. You could have done the swing low right here. All of these are legitimate ways to enter the market, right? These are legitimate ways. You just have to decide if that's what you want to do based on what your analysis is. Sure, I could have said, look at this, it's dropping. Let's take our first order block and let's try it. Let's take a risk. I just didn't do that. So what I need to get better at, if I'm analyzing myself, instead of just being emotional and taking a trade, what I would do is look at this, journal this, and then say, you know what? Next time I see a big sell-off like this, instead of just letting it go, I need to take at least one shot. What is that one shot? That one shot would be a fair value gap short, a order block tag short, and try that trade out and see if it plays out. See if you can capitalize on it. It's still somewhat discretionary because you're waiting for the trend. You're trying to predict when we're trending lower and when we're not. Okay, now that we're close to here, my anticipation is we get something like this before we finish this out right here. So we go to the 2 minute. Here we go. If we get a 2 minute inversion right here, I'm not opposed to try to taking some of this liquidity. That's not horrible. It's not ideal either because it's so heavy. So I'm going to say no on that again. You could say, hey, there's your fair value gap. Why don't you try to go short? Sure, you could. I don't like how close we are to the target. I want to get a bigger retracement before we hit this target. All of those are options. actually like this. Stop, we can move our stop to break even once we hit that high to reduce our risk. It's a little smaller than a 1-to-1, so 1-to-1 would be right here. I don't think it's going to give it to us though. Because we're so close to this target, I'm not interested in trying to, I mean, you could. I mean, there's so many ways you could play this. It's just one of those things. Do we want to go long or short? I think we at least run some of this because look how much we've had almost 0 retracements. So we have to get something before here is my opinion. That's how I want to trade this. And we have a minute and 30 seconds left, unfortunately. That is probably going to give us, we could do this 1 minute right here. A 1 minute close above that. You could try to take it to some of this. That's somewhat risky as well because of how heavy we've been. It's just not an A+ type of setup. It can be. We can take 1 micro here. I'll try a micro right here and see if it's gonna go. So we got long. We're gonna see if it wants to run to this high. That swing high right there. It's a valid setup, folks. 40 points. Tight. It's a tight risk. Our risk is very small. We just have to wait a full minute for it to play out. Now, what we do is we accept the risk that we are accepting right now. We just accept the risk. Okay, so it's still a valid trade. We should get a nice little push here right into here. This looks good. I'm going to expand this a little bit. And then I'll close it if I need to. It still hasn't hit our initial target. Initial target is swing high at 28.58. This is where it could turn also. We have our 1 minute order block right here. That's from this fair value gap. We have all this low resistance liquidity potential right there. So that's what I'm hoping that we just push right up into it. I'm going to take 1 TP off there. That's our TP. And stop loss will be now moved to break even. Okay. So stop loss is at break even. Now we let this trade, see if it can go higher. And now we have to identify what is our target. Here's a 5 minute fair value gap that we could stop at. And that's enough for me playing against this trend right here. I'm going to close right there inside that 5 minute, knowing that we still have lower targets in my opinion. So there's a nice little scalp for 40 points. Okay. See how we did that? You have, if you're going to take a trade, regardless, you just have to say, do I have the conviction for it? All right, I do. I'm going to accept the risk, and then you just take the stinking trade. So we did there 40 points, and I took another one at that high. So 50 points. 50 points on the initial drop, just taking a quick scalp. This is probably my primary way of trading. Holding for a bigger move Sure, you could have done that. Like I said, I felt like I'm trading against the trend and I don't know when that stops. Obviously not where I was at. There it is. That's what I should have looked at. 15 minute. 15 minute fair value gap. This is probably where it's going to stop right there. So you have a 15 minute fair value gap that was just tagged. You see that, and that's probably my assumption where it's going to roll over again. Now, this isn't a trade idea. It's just, okay, if it does roll over here, I can say, all right, 15 minute was tagged. Is there a model to take short based on what I'm analyzing? So do you see how we're holding? We're not pushing up past it. We still could. We still could, but I'm looking at the initial reaction. I need to remove that little level there. Okay, so rejection still. It's way too early to see. We need to see violations of fair value gaps and stuff. But here's a fair value gap. How does it react? Here's a fair value gap. How does it react? Okay, that fair value gap finds support. We're moving higher, potentially closing above this black candle, which would turn this into an order block. So the same idea here that we had can be the same idea here. However, what's against that is liquidity beneath us. So this to me is temporary. So go as high as it wants. I might look for another opportunity to take a short. So we have here 50% of that drop is right here. That could be a big move right there in itself. So there's so many different ways to trade, guys. You just have to decide what yours is and then master it. So right now we're green on all accounts. Thank you, Jesus. We're not massively green, but because of how bad my month has been, or that this month is probably going to end up red, I've made up my mind to just wipe my mindset clean and just start with small, consistent wins again. Okay? Not trying to, when you get to the point where you start seeing profitability, the last thing you want to do is have an unprofitable month. So subconsciously and internally, you're like, what do I need to do to make sure it turns green? I still have 4 more days this whole week that I could try to get it to be a green month. But if I have that mindset, I'm going to start trying to take bigger trades, hold longer, do stupid things that is, in my opinion, and based on past experience, results in me losing even more money. So I've already accepted that July is going to be a red month, and I'm just going to stack small, consistent wins every single day. Today, hallelujah, thank you, Jesus, we got 2 solid wins this morning. We got a 70-point win and a 50-point win. You can't ask for anything more than that, right? I mean, that's 120 points. You can make a living off of. There's a trader on YouTube. What's his name? Matt? Tim? T? What's his name? I think it's Tim, right? What's his name? No, Matt. It's Matt Trades. Matt Trades, right? Matt Trades. His goal is 10 points. And he makes a living off of 10 points. Okay? We're not trying to slay the market here. We're just looking for consistency. Yeah, I wouldn't mind a short. I wouldn't mind a short. The thing is, we might get a failure swing too. Failure swing here, and it keeps doing this all day, and then at the end of the day, it runs down here. I've seen that happen hundreds of times. Well, if I do it by weeks, Natalie, I would still be a red month in July. So we're starting this week fresh. This is a fresh week, and we're gonna end it green. No, years, that's too long. That's too long. Too much weight for that. You'd be depressed. And I think subconsciously, I still think I value dollars over lessons. And I teach that you need to trade for education, not for profit. So I teach this. Now, for me, practically living it out as well, the runner is where I lack the most in this philosophy. The runner is where I lack the most in this philosophy. I'll enter a trade, I'll accept the stop loss, I'll accept the risk, I'll accept my initial target and let the trade play out because that was my plan and I want to trade for education. Did I do everything based on what my education teaches me? But when it comes to the runner, that's where I don't follow that philosophy nearly as well as I should. Because if I did, I would have had the runner on this drop. I would have a runner right now on this push higher. But I valued closing that and getting that profit more than the education for that runner. I'm just being honest. That's where, as I'm talking to my journal this morning, that's where I think I would need to improve. It's a constant growth session, folks. If you're not improving, if you're not trying to find out where you can get better, what you did wrong, what you can improve on, you're not going to get better as a trader. I'm not saying you have to, identify it and fix it by the next day, but there's a recognizing these things is the first step to growth. But I can tell you that's probably one of my weaknesses is my runners. Not letting my runners go back to break even. Yeah, I have to fix that. I have to fix it. There's too many opportunities that I leave on the table. So if I'm practically thinking about this, practically, how would I implement this? I think the way I implement this is I take a trade with one contract, as I always do. I find my target. I set my stop based on my risk of having two contracts. And then when I hit that target, I sell one. And I planned on, hey, I'm already used to trading one contract. Let's call that a win. Everything else is bonus. If it hits break even, I'm not losing anything because I already planned on taking 1 micro. And then I set a new target for the runner. Maybe we double it. Maybe we go a 4-hour trade. Maybe we go towards a liquidity point. But we have to identify what that's going to be. Because I could have said it was the 15-minute. You know, I could have said it was a 15-minute. If I did that, it would have been an 80-point trade. Sure. I mean, that's a decent... I mean, if that was the target, then that was the win. So I think what I've been doing, though, is when I've done this before, I set my runner target so high that it comes out, I get stopped at break even, I get disappointed. So I think my runner targets need to be lower. And I need to start stacking those runner wins to build that confidence. That's it. That's it, folks. That's it. I'm making my runner targets too big, and then I'm getting stopped out. So I'm not building that confidence and stacking those wins like I should, because I'm you know, oh yeah, it's gonna go up here, folks. 500 points, that runner's gonna hit, baby. And then it doesn't. You know, I need to go from a 1-to-1 to a 1-to-2 or a 1-to-3. I mean, this was from a risk to reward perspective, this was a phenomenal trade. You see what the risk to reward is on this? This is a 14R. This was a 14R trade because of how close we closed to this fair value gap. And we never retraced. It just pushed higher. It's hard to beat a 14-hour trade. I mean, it's only 44 points. But if we would have doubled our target to 88 points, that would have been a good target to have. I think that's what needs to happen. I think that's what I need to do. All right, we have a new hourly candle. And after this drop, I think I'm done, guys. I don't think I'm going to take another trade. I'm happy. I want to start the week off green. Yeah, we're going to accept this. We're going to only took my buyout now. Yeah, we're going to be done. So we'll be back here, private live stream tomorrow. We'll be live again on Wednesday. I'm not a fan of I use trailing stops, but think about it this way. Where's the trailing stop on this? Come on, dude. Well, there is no trailing stop. There's no swing point, major swing point that says it's time to move my stop up. Maybe here, maybe there. But when you do that, when you move your swing points, or when you move your trailing stop loss higher, it needs to be based on major swing points. These aren't major. This one could be major. It has at least 2 red candles, but we haven't had a single retracement. So that's what I would be looking for, is the retracement first and then the push higher. Then I set my stop below that swing point. That's how you should do it. But there's your swing point right here, maybe right here, but then nothing for that entire run here. Going the other direction, maybe there, but not really. maybe here, but it's not confirmed yet. It looks like it'll be confirmed here shortly. That close right there, you could move your stop here. Yeah, now you could. That would be a confirmed move your target or your stop loss up. Either way, it's either A or B or C. You just pick your way and then you stick to it, right? Yeah, I mean, that's all the risk you have. You have to figure out what your risk is. Micro retracements, or do you waiting for the larger retracement? Yeah, low of the previous bar, you would have been stopped out right here. Stopped out at 1051. Or you've been stopped out here at 1055. You have to allow some retracements. That's the thing about the trailing stop loss that I'm just not a fan of. Maybe on the runners, sure. Maybe on the runners I'd do that. But I just don't feel like you give yourself enough breathing room. Now, this here, a trailing stop loss against the trend would make more sense than waiting for a swing low, because you might not get one. Because our target, in my opinion, is still down here. I still think this is our target as of right now. It could leave this for a day or two. It might not do it right now. It's, for sure, it's better than the entry. It's better than break even. It's just a matter of what you decide you want to do and how you want to do it, right? And there isn't a wrong way as long as you commit to that process. So we're going to call it here, guys. Green on the day. Thanks for being here, guys. God bless. We will see you all here tomorrow or on Wednesday. We will talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.